Here is how we're going to, so section 4.3, we're going to cut it into 2 days. Today and tomorrow. Like I said, this is stuff that's actually all about radicals, 4.3. I've always thought radicals are somewhat kind of easy. You also hit them when you're a freshman a lot, when you're in Algebra 1. Let's go through these, okay? So if I ask you to simplify this, I would simplify it by looking for pairs, right? And you have a pair of 2's. When you have a pair, you bring one out, and you have whatever root you don't have left over, and it's 2 squared of 7. So just out of curiosity, who got number 1 right? Good. Okay, I'm glad most every hand up. Okay. Shh. Hey, I'm teaching now. It needs to be quiet. I'm not even grading a quiz. I'm teaching now. Okay. This one, when we factor it, we get 25, 2, 5, and 5, right? Now, underneath our square root, we're going to have a 5, a 5, and a 2, 6 t's, and 7 u's. Now, you didn't have to go through all this. I'll show you if you remember what we had to do. So we have a pair of 5's, 3 pairs of t's, and 3 pairs of u's. So let me ask you a question. What's left over underneath the square root? A 2 and a u. Now on the outside we're going to have 5, 3 t's, and 3 u's. Okay? Now there is this little shortcut you can do without having to list everything out. Remember, when you're dealing with variables, if it's t to the 6th, you can just half it and bring it out. If it's even, you can half it and bring it out. Does that make sense? So even here, 2 goes into 7 3 times with 1 left over. So if it's an odd number, just figure how many times 2 goes into it, bring it out, and leave 1 left over. So who got number 2 right? A little less, but decent amount. Okay. Number 3, 64, 2. 32, 2, I don't have room. What's the answer? Is it, hold on. 8 squared of 2?
Yeah, really. You go, man.
You want to know how I know that? No, what's 8 times 8? Times 2? Cool, right? Okay. Alright, this one. 9 and 5, 3 and 3. Okay, let's do a little shortcut here. So we know we're going to have a 3 outside. How many times does 2 go into 3? So we know we're going to have a t out and a t under. Well, we're going to have a 5t under. How many times does 2 go into 10?
5.
And there would be your answer. There wouldn't be a 2 under because the 45 factors down to a 9 and 5, so 3, 3, and 5. So on the outside, we're going to have a 3t u to the 5th, and underneath a 5t. The t, a 1? No, because you're only going to have 1 pair, so you're only going to bring 1 t out. Okay, who could tell me how to do number 5? Sam?
I think I know how to do it.
Okay, tell me.
So you square both of them?
No, we don't want to do that right now. How do we do it? Shelby, do you know? Yep, we multiply the 2 numbers together. So now listen, anytime you're multiplying radicals, Logan, listen. Anytime you're multiplying radicals, you have to multiply what's on the outside together. Now in this case right here, there's nothing on the outside of the radicals, and what's on the inside together. So in this case right here, where they're both underneath the radical, you're going to multiply them together, and then you have to factor. So 5 squared of 3 would be your answer. Who got that one right? Eddie, you got that one wrong? Oh, too bad. Okay. Hey. All right. So another multiplication one. All right. Would be one that looks like this. If we had the square root of 6 times the square root of 3, that would equal. Stop. I'm teaching now. It needs to be silent. Max, Logan. Logan, scoot up one. Max, next time. You're in the corner.
Oh, Jackson and Brady are taking.
Tyson, come up here. Hurry. I'm going to separate people today. I got to cover a lot of material today, so I need it quiet. Yes. Yeah, I just do it this way. I always just multiply together. So whatever's on the inside's on the inside, which gives us 18, which gives us 9 and 2.
Yeah, so maybe if I could do that, because
You
I
could.
my last one as well.
So you have 3, a pair of 3s, which gives us 3 square root of 2. Okay. Any questions on simplifying radicals, even when they have variables, or simple multiplication of radicals? All right, we're going to get into the hard stuff now. The reason why I wanted to do that quiz is because I wanted to get that easier stuff out of the way early. Now we're going to get into the little bit harder. So if we have the square root of 72 times 3 square root of 32, it might be a decent idea to throw down a few of these inside your journal just so you have them. If you want to. I'm not making you today, but if you want to, it might not be a bad idea. Okay, so first off, we have two gigantic numbers underneath the root, right? We have a 72 and a 32. I will tell you this right now, I would never multiply 72 and 32 together because it would give me a number that's in the 2000s. Okay, you don't want to try to factor something like that. So what I would do first is I would factor both of these numbers down from the get-go. So everyone, I would factor these numbers down. I would get a pair of 3s, a pair of 2s, so 72 is going to become 6 square root of 2 times, and 32, I'm out of room, son of a gun, becomes 4 square root of 2. So this becomes 6 square root of 2 times 4 square root of 2, and I really can't believe they're giving me a whole number here. Okay? So if you guys look at this,
4 times 3.
oh, that's it. Where is it?
The 4 times 3. You brought it up 4, but you started.
Okay, yeah, 12. So here, so 72 is going to become 6 square root of 2, and I'm going to do this where we actually have a little more room. If when we factor this down, we end up with a pair of 2s and another pair of 2s, right? Now, when we bring out those numbers right here, we have a pair of 2s and another pair of 2s. So we're going to go 2 times 3, which is 6, times 2, which is 12. Okay? So because this number is already out here, any number you bring out with it is multiplied to that number. So because of these numbers, and I know I screwed up right here, there's a 2 and a 2 right here. Bringing out those numbers makes it 12 right there, so we have 12 square root of 2. Okay, now, does everyone understand why you want to simplify these first before you multiply? If you guys look at this, this looks far worse than this. Now we're to the point now we can just multiply what's on the outside together, so 6 times 12 is 72. 2 times 2 is the square root of 4. Look, we can simplify again down to 2 and 2. The square root of 4 is just 2. So what's left over underneath the root?
Nothing.
Nothing. So what happens to the root? It's gone. So we're going to multiply 72 times 2, which gives us 144 as our solution. Okay, so we bring out this pair of 2s, we multiply it to 72, and we get 144. A part of our solution. Okay. Let's do another one like this one just so we can see it. I'm going to make it a lot cleaner. That was kind of a mess. If I have the square root of 98, Andy, times 4 square root of 12. Now you could right here, you could go 98 and 12 together. And I'm not saying that you can't. And then you could factor that gigantic thing. I wouldn't do it. What I would do is I would factor this first. So 98 goes down to 49 and 2, and then 7 and 7. And I'm going to do 12 right now, so 6 and 2, 3 and 2. So 98 is going to factor down to 7 square root of 2, because we have one pair of 7s, and we're going to bring it out. 12 is going to factor down to 2, 2, and 3, so we have a pair of 2's. When we bring out these 2's, we have to multiply it to this 4. So we get 8 square root of 3. I mean, you just look at the difference of problems right here. This compared to this, right? This is significantly easier, because now we can go 7 times 8, which is 56. 2 times 3, which is 6, and we're done.
So when you don't multiply by 4, you only multiply by 2 if you have like a pair of numbers?
Yeah, so yep, remember, because you're only bringing out one of them, right? One of the pairs. You're not bringing out multiple. Okay, any questions so far? All right, let's keep going. Now we're going to multiply with some variables. So, for example, if I have the square root of 15z squared times the square root of 5z to the 8th. Okay, the first thing is you're going to multiply the numbers underneath it. Okay, so what's 15 times 5? So we have a 75. Now, what do we do with the variable? Yeah, you add the exponent. So z squared times z to the 8th is z to the 10th. And now you factor. So here we go. 25, 3, 5 and 5. So we're going to have a pair of 5s. So on the outside, we're going to have a 5. Underneath, we're going to have a 3. How many z's am I bringing out? Why am I bringing out 5 z's? Yep, because you bring out half of the number. Good. Okay. All right. Any questions on multiplying with variables? I'm not going to spend any more time on that either, because we need to get to this other stuff. Okay. Is this what I want? Nope, not yet. Okay. Last thing we're going to do, and this is what it's called, rationalize the denominator. An example of this would be square root of 5 times the square root of 3w. I mean, square root of 5 divided by the square root of 3w. No, that'll come. Nope, not yet. Thank goodness. Maybe tomorrow. I think it's next lesson. Okay. All right, someone other than Andy. How do I do this one? Steve, do you know? How do I simplify this? Who knows? By? I like. There's no conjugate. Conjugates only work when you have a binomial in the bottom. Jackson? Ooh, getting close.
Negative 3. No. Can I just say it?
Eddie, go.
Times both. You times the top and bottom of the denominator.
So we're going to times the top and the bottom by whatever the bottom is. Now, Eddie, why would we do that?
It's so that you can make the bottom a whole number and not a square root.
Good. You can't, in order to do algebraic expressions, you cannot have a square root in the denominator. Okay, so the way we get rid of it is by rationalizing it. Now the way we do that is by timesing the top and the bottom by the square root of 3w. Now look, the square root of 3w times the square root of 3w is just 3w, which is pretty cool. Square root of 7 times the square root of 7 is 7. Square root of Sophia times the square root of Sophia is just Sophia, which is pretty cool, okay? When you times two square roots together, it just cancels them, as long as they're the same terms. Now look though, now we have the square root of 5 times the square root of 3w, which is the square root of 15w, and that would be your answer. Okay, now look, you may ask yourself, well, that's not really simplified. Yeah, it is, because the root's out of the bottom. You can't do these as long as the root's in the bottom. Okay, here's another. The square root of 3 over the square root of 5x. I want everyone to do that one on their own. Go. Simplify that. Hopefully everyone got this as your solution. Did everyone get, that's what the solution is. Did everyone get that? Okay, so we times the top and the bottom by the square root of 5x. 3 times 5x is 15x. Square root of 5x times square root of 5x is 5x. Okay, any questions on rationalizing the denominator? Okay, the last thing we're going to cover, and this is it, is multiplying, is rationalizing the denominator using the word that Max used. Max, what word did you use? Using the conjugate. And I would really encourage this one inside your journal because this is going to be the hardest thing we do today. Okay. Now the issue with this problem right here is that the root's in the bottom. That's the whole issue. So we have to get rid of it. Now we can't just times the bottom by square root of 2 because that wouldn't get rid of it because this would be times by the square root of 2 and it would leave it in the bottom. What we have to do because it's a binomial in the bottom is you have to times the top and the bottom by the conjugate. Now the conjugate is whatever the denominator is with the sign, the middle sign changed. Okay, so you're going to times the top and the bottom by the denominator with the middle sign changed. Now by doing that, we're left with this on top 7 times 5 plus 2 square root of 2. And on the bottom, 5 minus 2 square root of 2. And 5 plus 2 square root of 2. Okay, how do I simplify the top? Yeah, we're just going to distribute. So the top's just going to become 35 plus 14 square root of 2. How do I do the bottom? Yeah, so basically it's FOIL. Andy drilled the way you shortcut it. When you do this, it's basically because they're conjugates. Now listen, because it's going to save you some time. Because they're conjugates, you only have to multiply the first term together and the last term together. So 5 times 5 is 25. Does anyone want to take, anybody want to take a guess what 2 squared of 2 squared is? Hey, 2 square root of 2 times 2 square root of 2. 2 times 2 is 4. Square root of 2 times square root of 2 is square root of 4. 4 times 2 is... So the bottom is going to be 17. So this would be your answer. Now Tyson, since you brought that up, how can this be the answer? What makes this our answer? Yep, that's why. Sam? Why? No, because there's a square root of 2 attached to it. They're not like terms. Good question. Down here? So we'll do another one right now. So, hey, listen. Remember, whenever we're doing these, we have to times the top and the bottom by the conjugate. The conjugate is the denominator with the sign change. When you FOIL the bottom, you only have to multiply the first terms and the last terms. That's it. You don't have to do the middles. Why? Why do I not have to do the middles? Because they're going to cancel out. So you don't have to do the middle terms because they're just going to cancel each other out, so it's irrelevant. Okay? So you only have to do the first and the last terms. Now the top, if it's a binomial on top, you're also going to have to FOIL the top, which is fine. We can do that. If it's a monomial like we had here with just 7, you only have to distribute the top. Okay, we're going to do one more of these. You guys ready? Then I'll do your homework. I'll do it. I'll do Andy's. Okay, I want you guys to try that one. Just try it. If you can't get there, it's fine. We're gonna go through it slowly. I wanna see, at least get as far as you possibly can on it.
Alright.
Go for it.
That's not as far as I can possibly. I have no idea what I'm doing.
Get out, get out, out. I might take his face up.
Stop it, Daxton.
She elbowed me first.
You deserved it.
I literally touched her, but oh, you put it down.
I was like this and she was like,
Yeah.
here, Jack.
It's there.
Is there?
I'm not helping. Ow. My shoulder hit my
Steven has two things are wrong. Steven has two things are wrong.
Oh, wait, his name is
Yep.
What? No, sorry.
Actually, I'm trying to do it.
Yeah, I don't understand you guys doing something.
If you're struggling to start, you times the top and the bottom by 7 minus 3 squared of 2. Logan, why is it minus?
Because you have to swap the sign.
Because you have to flip the signs. Good.
Wait, so what times negative 3 by square root of 2, right?
Nope. Just by the negative 3 in front.
I got to there, and I got the top. I just can't remember.
You look at there, Logan. Nice job, Daxton.
I got it right. You believe that?
Wait, will you go up so I can see? I don't think
It's just sad.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Okay, now I'm
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and knock it out. Okay, quiet. Nice and turn around. So we're going to times the top and the bottom by 7 minus 3 squared of 2. Am I correct on that?
Yeah.
Okay, the top we're just going to distribute. The bottom we're going to FOIL. The top, when we go negative 3 times 7, we get negative 21. Negative 3 times negative 3 squared of 2 is positive 9 square root of 2. Who got the top right? Oh, yeah. The bottom.
Oh my gosh.
What?
Falling backwards for a second.
The bottom.
Was there, so
7 times 7, which is 49. 3 square root of 2 times negative 3 square root of 2 is negative.
18.
So on the top, we're going to have negative 21 plus 9 square root of 2 over 31 is your answer. Who got it? Okay, your assignment's there. Go. 16 problems.
16?
All right, 18.
Look how good my drawing is.
Say you're sorry. You can go back to your chair now. Logan, you can go back too.
I don't want to. Max is distracting.
Yeah, you're right.